Oh, I think it's coming on now. Okay. All right. We seem to be doing it. Yeah. So this is TN Talk Time. You can find me on YouTube. You can also find some of my episodes on Nana's Place on Twitch TV. .com? No. It's twitch.tv/Nana's Place, I believe. Yes, that's what it says up there. So, if you're interested to look at other stuff. Otherwise, I'm doing an update here. I have been offline since the end of August? Yeah, more than a month, I think. Anyway, I thought I would let you know why I haven't been around. I did a silly thing, not on purpose, but you know how accidents happen by accident. I went to stand up, and I can't remember if I knew it at the time or after I stood, that my left foot had fallen asleep. Well, lo and behold, when you stand up on a body part that falls asleep, your body doesn't recognize it being there. And I just kind of crumpled down. Now this is my left foot. Instead of being, I don't know how. Here's my ankle, here's my foot. Shouldn't be that way, but it went like this. So I was standing on my ankle. And I managed to wiggle around and get my foot out from underneath me. I had collapsed down on it. And I'm stretched out on the floor on my back going, okay, now what? Okay. And as I had gone down, I heard a pop. So I knew I either stretched my tendons out to the point of extreme discomfort, or I had actually broken something. So I called my middle son. He was over at his dad's, and I said, I need you to take me to the hospital because I think I broke my foot. And so he took me, and they took it. It's real cool. They take the x-ray machine to you now. I'm old enough to remember when you had to be hauled down to the x-ray department, and you had to be contorted and configured in order for them to get the x-ray. This is real cool. I'm in the emergency room bay, and they wheel it in and project it right over your foot. And she stands out in the hall and goes click, click, click. They took a couple x-rays, and sure enough, I had broken my fibula, which is the skinny bone. The tibia is the thicker bone. The fibula, and I have to stop and think because it's fib, as in a lie. That's how she explained it to me. That's how she remembers. It's fib. Little lie. The fibula is the skinnier one. And on your left side, it's on the outside. And I broke it, fractured it right there towards the end of it, where it meets up in the ankle joint. And the break didn't go all the way through, so I think that's a good thing. It means healing can happen faster, I think, than a complete break. So they put me in a splint, and it's real cool how they do things now. I'm watching them do all this stuff right there in the emergency room. There's this big old long sheet of stuff that's in plastic, and they cut it off. First they measure, and then they cut it off to how long they need it, and then they pulled it out of the plastic wrapping, and they wetted it, or in reverse order, I'm not sure which, but that activated it. And then they wrapped my foot in gauze. No, not gauze. Cotton like batting. My foot was batted. And up my ankle, down to my foot. And then they put this thing on there, and they formed it up the back. And you don't move for a while so that it sets. And it doesn't take long for it to set and get hard. and then they wrap like an ace bandage type thing around that. And in my day, meaning back when I was young enough to break stuff, in my day, they had those metal clips in order to secure the end of it. Well, now they have Velcro, and Velcro on the end, and they wrap it up, and then they press the Velcro, and then they do another wrapping, and I can't remember if it was more than two things that they had to wrap around me. I don't remember now, but that holds the splint in place. Well, hello. Never peel a banana from the inside out. That's what Kinky Blinky says. And Philly Special says hi. So, hi, Philly Special. And Kinky Blinky, how the hell would you do that to begin with? To peel a banana from the inside out? Okay, so anyway, I felt like a peeled banana by the time all of this was done. So I had to hobble around on that for 10 days. Well, actually, I wasn't supposed to be on it, but I ended up, if anybody's old enough to remember Gunsmoke in Chester, Mr. Dillon, and he come hobbling behind. Anyway, that's what I did for about 10 days. And then I saw the doctor last week, I think. Yes, it is. And the bottom part pulls out to make a full-size bed. Another lady. I'm going to call you Jenkins because I don't know how to say the first part. Is that a bunk bed? Yes, behind me is a bunk bed. This is the ladder that goes up the second part. We don't have a mattress up there yet. On the bottom part sits like a couch most of the time. And then when you have somebody, comes over, then you can pull it out and it makes a full-size bed. My granddaughter, Noelle, used it when she stayed here for about 6 weeks. And whenever Brendan comes over and spends the night, he stays on that. So, yes, it is awesome. It's nice to have that. So, anyway, back to my broken foot, my broken ankle. That wasn't fun. So, I saw the doctor on the 9th, I think it was. And she put me on a walking cast. I don't know if I can put my foot up high enough for you to see. And I'm not really supposed to walk around on it. There it is! So I'm a little more mobile than I was before. I just came back from seeing my sister. We went, she's having trouble with her eyes, so I wanted to give her a break from driving, and we try to get together at least once a month or something, and touch base and see how the other one's doing and away from everybody else's noise. So we went out and ran a couple errands and got something to eat. And then we went by Sam's Club and I got Philly beefsteak, and that's what Philly Special makes me think of. And Klondike bars. When you have trouble with mobility to begin with, because I have chronic fatigue, that's why my Twitter handle is quite tired, because mentally I'm quite tired of all the crap that goes on these days, but also physically I'm always quite tired. So this has just made me even slower than I was before. So I don't know if Spirit's telling me little by little to be still, contemplate, meditate, or stop being a klutz. I'm not sure. But it's like, if I get any slower, they might as well start sizing me for a coffin, because I can't get much slower than I already am. So anyway, that's why I haven't been around for a while, is because of that. And I'm feeling better. Because I have fibromyalgia, I'm always in pain to some degree. I have to really stop and think about it, because your body gets used to tolerating, like for somebody else where I live every day, they wouldn't be able to handle, they'd be popping pills. There are people who have fibromyalgia who have it even worse than me, they're in extreme, did I say extreme? Pain, like they're up here. So, when you get used to tolerating pain to a certain degree, it really has to be something for you to notice it. And there was only a couple days in that first week after I broke my foot that the pain was really uncomfortable. More so uncomfortable. But I managed to get through it without taking any medicine. So that was the worst of it. Now recently, because I've been walking unevenly because of the boot sits, that sounds Canadian, that's how they talk, the boot, out in a boot, Have you ever heard that phrase? Our friend, I just forgot his name. It's not Whitney. Oh, that is off. Whitaker. Jeez. He's Canadian, but he has learned to speak without the accent, and it's only once in a while that you can really hear it. And he will say that the Canadians, like if you're saying out and about in a boat, is out in a boat. Try saying that. So anyway, my boot, I'm more mobile, but I'm still supposed to rest. Keep it. Rice was the phrase that they told me. R for rest, I for ice, C for compression, which is I have a compression sock on with a Velcroed, I'm not really strap that goes across my foot, and then it crosses and then it wraps around my ankle and Velcro's there. So I think it's like an extra brace type thing. And that's what I wear underneath the boot, inside the boot. So it's rest, ice, compression, and the E is for elevate. Now, some people say it needs to be above your heart level. There's no way I could do that. But it didn't need to be. It's 90 degree. So, like right now, it should be up on this chair that I have next to me, but I'm just not ready to put it up yet. So I'm still supposed to do that. And then the boot, I can't say it any other way. The boot comes off at night. But the compression bandage, the compression sock, or whatever you want to call it, with the strap, that stays on all the time, except when I take a shower. But I can take a shower now without sticking my foot in a garbage bag and taping it up around my knee. That was fun. But back then, I was really shaky on my feet, and I was using crutches, and I'm not coordinated to begin with, and they want me to walk on crutches. Didn't work too well. So the boot, it's nice to have the boot now so that I don't have to worry about that. So I'm improving. I still have to pace myself and not, try to do too much, and I'm on a more even keel now. So talking about walking like Chester on Gunsmoke, following Mr. Dallin. They told me then to get a thicker soled shoe for my good foot, and it took me a good week or so to get that. So in the meantime, I'm walking uneven, I'm stepping up and down, up and down, up and down. And my right side, my foot was really starting to bother me, and all of the muscles all the way up my leg and my hip and my butt cheek and my back. When you do something out of whack like that, it throws everything out of whack. So I finally got a thicker soled shoe. It's actually more like a sandal. See, it's thick like this. Yeah. So I'm just a teeny bit higher now on that side, but it's better than what it was. So I'll leave it at that. And once I'm well, which will take, what did they say, 8 to 12 more weeks. So I'm down to, only a week has gone by since she said that. Once I'm all healed and I don't need the extra stuff, then I have a new pair of shoes to wear around the house, because I should be wearing shoes around the house, but I'm a hillbilly from way back when. I'd rather go barefoot. in and outside the house. And I bought me a robe to match the gold in this, and it's a champagne color because most of the time I'm still in my nightgown all day long. So isn't that pretty? I thought that was pretty. So I got a champagne colored robe to go with this, and so that's what I'll be wearing most of the time when I'm be bopping around the house, and hopefully no more bopping, because that can tend to break a bone. And all I was trying to do was stand up and go get something to drink. So I don't know what I did that day to make my foot fall asleep, but it's normal for me to do that. Anywho, I wanted to, touch base and let people know that that's why I haven't been around. Like I said, I went out with my sister today, and we tried to get into trouble. I mean, you didn't hear me say that. We don't have to try. It just comes natural. And she, like I said, she's been having trouble with her eyes, so I wanted to give her a break from having to do that. She might have glaucoma. She's in the process of finding out. So we'll see how that goes, and I'm praying that she's going to be better. And the other thing I wanted to touch base with, I've been watching some of these channels on YouTube, and I'm a very spiritual person. My foundation is I believe in God, and I believe in Jesus. I believe in the angels. And I was watching this one channel that was spiritual. Well, it still is. But they had me questioning, my spirituality, because I use, did I keep them out? I think so. Because I do readings, tarot readings. Because I believe God will speak with you wherever you're at and however you're doing. I mean, you can be out in the middle of nowhere and God can speak to you. Okay? I don't tie his hands. Well, he can only speak to me if I'm in this building and there's a guy up there yelling at me about something. I don't believe that. So anyway, just in case, because sometimes, she asks. But I do wolf readings with my wolf deck. And I use angel cards by Doreen Virtue and Radley Valentine. And the artwork by Stephen Roberts is spectacular. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. These are the things I know. And the reason I know is because I believe I talked about it in a previous episode. I had an experience, a divine experience, with an angel. I read the Bible once, starting with the Gospels all the way through to the end, and then starting over Genesis all the way to Revelations. I did this once in a 3-day period and did nothing else but that. Even while I'm making dinner for the family, I had my Bible in one hand and I'm continuing to read. That's all I did for 3 days. And during the course of that, it was revealed to me in Scripture. I can't point to it right now, which Scripture it was, but it was revealed to me about everybody is assigned a guardian angel. So yes, there are guardian angels. And yes, there are other angels around you as well. And yes, you can ask for a legion of angels to be with you. You can call on the angels anytime you want. So I found that reassuring. I also had an experience when I was probably in the 6th or 7th grade where there was the image. Let's say you did a childish drawing of an angel with the wings and the little skirt. Let's say you did a cutout of that and put it over a flashlight and then turn the flashlight on. A perfect image of that was on the wall above my bed. I was telling Sandy about that today. And I couldn't find the source of that. It was like, where the heck did this come from? I didn't freak out. I immediately went into analytical mode. And I searched the whole room to find the source of that. We had 2 narrow windows. I went around every gap in the windows that I could find, anywhere a light source could be coming from. We had little angels, angel figurines on the dresser. Put my hand around them, moved them. That image stayed on the wall. So I did as much analyzing as a 12, 13-year-old can do, however old I was in 6th and 7th grade, to figure out where the heck was this coming from. Couldn't find the source. So I said, okay, I give up. Got in bed, put the sheet over my head, said, now I lay me down to sleep, pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. And I said, I'm yours. And I rolled over and went to sleep, totally anticipating I was not going to wake up the next morning. Surprise, surprise, I woke up the next morning. So I know there are angels from personal experience and from what the word says, okay? So I will use the angels to help tell me what's going on, to protect me, to guide me, whatever. Sahara is playing with one of her babies, and her tail is wagging. I love it when her tail wags. She's being happy. The other thing is with the wolf cards. I have experienced a fascination with them back in 93, 92, 93, whenever they came back to Yellowstone. And I just got totally immersed in them. And I would go to the wolf cabin at the Cleveland Zoo and take pictures. And I'm sitting there and I'm going through my pictures, and they started not actually talking to me, but I would see a picture and it conveyed play to me. You know, they're running around having a great time. So that's how they started talking to me. I had all these pictures. What am I going to do with them? I was thinking at the time of making a coffee table book full of the pictures that I had taken. And I had been a photojournalist for a brief period of time, so this is something that I did a lot of. And of course, I was the family photographer. That's been handed over to my youngest son now. But they started talking to me this way, through the pictures and through dreams and stuff. They would show up in my dreams. Now, part of that is because it's, whatever you feed your mind with, that's what you're that's why you shouldn't be feeding your mind with a lot of negativity, because negativity will manifest. And so, part of that's the logical explanation. But spiritually, I had this wolf just show up. And it took a friend of mine to tell me who it was. And it was Orca, who was a resident of Wolf Park in Indiana. And that's how, they started coming to me in visions and dream time. So that's my relationship with the energy of wolf. Now, do I worship wolf? No. I mean, do I get inspiration from them? Yes. Wolf, in a lot of Native American tribes and legends, is the teacher. And so wolf was teaching me a lot of things, just from the interaction and the personal experience I had watching them. At Wolf Park, I actually got to meet Orca. Matter of fact, I got to meet Orca. Yeah, a lot of glare. Sorry about that. But I got to meet Orca. And that needs washed. And learn things. He's hoping miracles, because he really should have been put down. Somebody else would have put him down, but he kept showing signs of improvement. And so they kept working with him. So anyway, using the pictures that I took, I determined, because this picture means this, and this picture means that. So I made my own tarot deck and my own spread. I call it a cycle spread. because Wolf is all about cycles. They're very much attuned to nature, and nature is cycles. You have, winter, spring, summer, fall. You have birth, life, death. You have, even just logically speaking, there are cycles in life. Well, that applies to us as well. We go through different cycles. And so the cycle spread that I do with the wolf deck, I tend to do wolf instead of wolf. Wolf. Zzz. I can't talk. And I used to be a DJ. So using that spread, I tell you what cycle you're in now, what you're learning, what's the primary cycle you're going through now, what's coming up in the next 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. And you don't hold them down to 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, a year. It can vary. It can go faster. It can go slower, whatever. And one of the things that I learned using that was that they don't like to be pinned down to something. Well, I want to know, is it 6 weeks? I want to know for sure this and that. And they don't give concrete answers because there's nothing concrete in nature. There are so many variables. And if you're putting God into the equation and relying on Him, you may want to do it now, but God says, oh no, you can't do that now. He has a better timing. So there's all these issues and things that come together there, and you can only give how it looks like at this moment. Okay? And doing wolves, they don't like to be pinpointed at all. Excuse me. So that's why they do it that way. 6 months, 9 months, 3, 6, 9, and then a year. And I also I was told once that, there's nothing wrong with using 2 decks. Because sometimes that other deck, at the same time that you're doing a reading, that other deck will give you a different look, a different viewpoint, more information, clarification. So whenever I do any spreads now, I usually do with both. Even if it's the Celtic Cross, I think is what it's called. I do that with the angels, and I also support it with the wolf deck. So anyway, watching this one person, I started questioning, okay, am I not supposed to be doing this? Is this of the devil? So in the course of explaining it to you, I'm reinforcing what I finally came up with. And it was with the help of my sister. She's very much, she knows so much more about the Bible than I do. And, she has studied it for years. And, she's not a professional or anything, but she's taught Sunday school. And so there are things that she would research, analyze, submerge herself in order to teach the kids, in a way to teach them in a way that they would understand. So she taught Sunday school for many years. So I value her opinion when it comes to the spoken word. After I did that intensive on my own of reading the Bible for 3 days straight, and then afterwards that's another. I already shared that on another thing, but I ended up going. I finished it and I set it down and I went to bed and I'm laying there and I'm going, okay, Jesus, reveal yourself to me. And then I went, one of those, how dare I? And this is all mental. I'm thinking this. And I immediately tried to retract it. And this image comes into my head. You remember the old time TVs, and then when you first turned it on, it was all that white snow? Well, in my head, there was all this white snow, and then a face appeared in blue. And it had a crown of thorns and long hair and, all this. Well, then it started to turn. That scared me because I thought the devil was interfering. And so I kind of shook myself out of that. And then the phrase paint it came into my head. It was very subtle, very strong. Paint it. And I laid there, paint it. I had just started painting with acrylics, learning how to paint. And it was like I could not listen to what it said. I could not ignore it. It was that quiet, insistent voice. So I go downstairs, and I spent the next 3 hours doing a painting of a face in blue. And when I was done, when I thought I was done, the whole time I'm painting, I'm hearing church bells. There really wasn't a church nearby. And so I called a friend over the next morning, told her what had happened. I called a friend the next morning, told her what happened. And she said as soon as she got the kids off to school, she'd come over and look at it. So she came over and looked at it. And I said, I think I was painting the face of Jesus. And she looked at it and she goes, that's not Jesus. That's a feminine face that you covered in the blood of Jesus. And you know, that's what it was. So I know I have a connection with spirit. Everybody does, but we don't pay attention to it. And, you know, which spirit are you feeding, the negative or the godly? Okay. So I have all of these things in my background to support. No, I'm not of the devil. God will use people to inspire, to enlighten, to give them messages, and that's what I use it for. Okay, what does Spirit want me to know? What does Spirit want you to know? You know, what's going on in your life that you need some examples. So because I was watching this one dude, who I call the bearded one, you know, he started getting me doubting one of the gifts of spirit that I do have, that I do recognize. I may have more, I just don't know them, don't recognize them. And when we went, when I was preparing to go out to pick up my sister to go out today, I went ahead and I grabbed my little case here and threw it in the back seat just in case, because on occasion she has, you know, asked me to do a reading. And I don't always have it with me. So it was like, okay, I'll throw it in the back just in case. She asked to do a reading. She asked me to do a reading. I wonder where she went. So to me, that was part of the answer about whether am I doing the right thing here. So yes, I believe I am. I consider her a godly person. And so the readings she agreed with me on. That was like confirmation for me. And then in the course of explaining all this, my foundation is good, I think. I do what I can. I know people need help. And if I can be a source of that help, it's not me talking, it's spirit. Okay? Then that's what I'll do. So that was pretty cool. I got an answer to that. I got to spend some time with her. I got to go out and do some things, and got to get more Klondike bars. When was it? It was last week. See, today is Monday. It was last Thursday, maybe? Thursday or Friday. My son went out, and I asked him, he was going to the store, so he says, you need anything? I said, yeah, some Klondike bars. You know, a pack of Klondike, they come in a pack of 6. He comes home with 4 packs. Well, it took me like 3 days to go through them all. Because I am low energy. I don't always have the energy to make myself something to eat. So anything quick, easy to get to. So I had to get some more today. I had one of his last night, so I had to replace that one. So that's really about all that I was going to talk about. I don't know if there's any questions anybody else has. And if there's not, then what I will do is I will close this out and come back another time. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I was going to... my sister had also talked about how in the Bible there's a story where a donkey talks. And when she told me that, I went, what? And I haven't looked it up yet. So that's something that I need to research so I can share it. Let's see if I can find it. She sent the quote to me, or the Bible verse to me. The story is, what she had told me wasn't 100% correct, so I don't know where we're off yet because I haven't read it yet. So the real story is in Numbers 22, verse 18 to 34. So, okay, I'll do that now, because I referred to this before and didn't follow through. So let's follow through now. So the question is, where is Numbers? Like I said, there it is. I haven't done this in a very long time. So I'm a bad girl. Numbers 22 to, let's see, 18 to 34. So there's 22, 18. Is that right? Numbers 22. Well, Numbers 22, 18. Well, that's what I was doing, 18 to 34. So I'll just share this and we'll see what it's talking about. Numbers 22, 18 to 34. 18. And Balaam answered and said unto the servants of Balak, if Balak would give me his house full of silver and gold, I cannot go beyond the word of the Lord my God to do less or more. Now therefore, I pray you, tarry ye also here this night, that I may know what the Lord will say unto me more. And God came unto Balaam at night and said unto him, if the men come to call thee, rise up and go with them. But yet the word which I shall say unto thee, thou shalt thou do. And Balaam rose up in the morning and saddled his ass. That's the one that's going to talk in a minute, I think. And saddled his ass and went with the princes of Moab. And God's anger was kindled because he went. And the angel of the Lord stood in the way for an adversary against him. Now he was riding upon his ass, and his two servants were with him. And the ass saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword drawn in his hand. And the ass turned aside out of the way and went into the field. And Balaam smote the ass to turn her into the way. But the angel of the Lord stood in the path of the vineyards, a wall being on this side and a wall on that side. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she thrust herself unto the wall and crushed Balaam's foot against the wall, and he smote her again. And the angel of the Lord went further and stood in a narrow place where was no way to turn either to the right hand or to the left. And when the ass saw the angel of the Lord, she fell down under Balaam, and Balaam's anger was kindled, and he smote the ass with his staff. And the Lord opened the mouth of the ass, and she said unto Balaam, what have I done unto thee, that thou hast smitten me these 3 times? And Balaam said unto the ass, why wasn't he shocked? because thou hast mocked me. I would there were a sword in mine hand, for now I would kill thee. Wow, that's how angry he was. And the ass said unto Balaam, am not I thine ass, upon which thou hast ridden ever since I was thine unto this day? Was I ever wont to do so unto thee? And he said, Nay. Then the Lord opened the eyes of Balaam, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the way, and his sword was drawn in his hand, and he bowed down his head and fell flat on his face. And the angel of the Lord said unto him, Wherefore hast thou smitten thine ass these 3 times? Behold, I went out to withstand thee, because thy way is perverse before me. And the ass saw me, and turned from me these 3 times, unless she had turned from me, surely now also I had slain thee, and saved her alive. That kind of support, that is so cool. So, I'm not saying that, all the animals talk, but they can. God can make all the animals talk. It depends on whether or not they have something to say. But that's like a case in point, like when you're determined to go somewhere or determined to do something a certain way. Hi, somebody just came in, so I say hi. But when you're bound and determined to do something your way, it's not always the right way. And this is case in point. I'll have to reread it because I don't understand. I thought he was supposed to go somewhere, but then he wasn't. But the angel of the Lord was barring the way because it wasn't going to be good for him. So when you're determined to do things your way, and then you're surprised when they don't turn out, who's that on? That's on you. Okay? You can't blame God for that. He gives you choice. But if you're paying attention, if you're listening, if you're understanding what's going on, you can see the subtle signs saying, that's not a good idea. And one of the things that Sandy was asking about today was, choices. She needed guidance on where to go next. And that's all I can say about it because I don't want to break any confidences. But, that's case in point. There's been many times where I'm heading out to go somewhere and I keep making wrong turns. They're not so wrong. Because sometimes you're being led away from a certain area because if you go there, if you continue that path, you can end up having an accident or something. There was a time when I kept saying, no, my husband at the time, he wanted to go. He wanted to leave. He wanted to go. And I didn't want to go yet. And then he kind of talked me into it, but I drug my feet, so, it wasn't right away. If we had left at the time that he wanted to leave, we would have been in the intersection. Were we on a motorcycle? I don't remember now for sure. But we would have been in an intersection where a guy on a motorcycle ended up going head over heels over the hood of a car in front of us. So, I was feeling very, very reluctant to go. I have procrastinated sometimes when I'm getting ready to leave and go somewhere, but I just can't get moving. Well, now, A, it's because of what I have, the chronic fatigue and the fibromyalgia, but also B, okay, I end up going the way I always go, and there was a huge accident. And if I had left on time, that's where I would have been. So that's how what I just read can be part of being relatable today. something is preventing you from doing what you wanted to do. Now, you may never know why, but if you just accept it and go, okay, go another way. Or sometimes I've said, okay, it's time to get off the road because there's too many idiots whizzing past me. There's too many people cutting me off. Follow your instincts, There's a reason. Okay, I'm going to finish what I'm doing and I'm going home, because, I might have wanted to do a couple other things, but no, we'll do that another day. It's time to get off the road. So when you pay attention to stuff like that, at least that's how I see it. So that passage kind of supports that. It also supports animals being able to talk to you. Now, I don't actually hear them talk. Wait. It's not a voice, it's a feeling, it's an impression. When I get stuff. Now, other people, they can actually talk to animals. And I admire them. But I was told once that because I'm so simpatico, shall we say, I could never be a vet tech. Because of seeing the trauma and stuff that they go through. You have to have the ability to disassociate. And I probably couldn't. And I was also told that because, that's the type of person I am, I couldn't talk to animals because I would not be able to deal with the pain and suffering and stuff that they go through. I can, to a certain degree, discern when it's time. At least I used to. When it was time, for, my I can remember definitely for sure Noelle and Riley and probably Lady as well. I tried to with Glory, but my husband at the time, he wouldn't hear of it until he had to deal with her having a seizure. And then all of a sudden, it was time for her to go. And I had to go with him. It was supposed to be his dog. But of course, I'm the one that ended up taking care of her. Anyway, yo. Bardia. Can I do a Scottish accent? No. Afraid not. That was King. I'm really bad at noticing when people are in chat, so I really don't mean to offend anybody by not recognizing you. My grandson, Brendan, he can talk a mile a minute, he can play a game, and he can watch chat all at the same time. Not me. So what was I talking about? Oh, I wouldn't be able to deal. My dogs, they would look at me a certain way, and it was like, help me, please. I'm ready. It's time. And, that always gave me comfort that, okay. But even then, you take him to the vet, and it's time to say goodbye. You thank them for choosing you to be part of their life and share their journey. But it's still like one of the hardest things to do. Before Sahara was Tramp, and some of the people that watch me often, they know Tramp, and his passing was just, I had procrastinated in taking him to the vet, and I knew he should have gone to the vet much sooner. And because of that, he had so many infections, it wasn't funny. And it was too late by the time I did take him to the vet. He was on medicine and stuff, but he just, it was just too late. And that was hard for me because I knew that was on me. And I had to take responsibility for that. And I'm still dealing with that. But that was probably the hardest one. Before that, it was Zeus. Zeus was my yellow lab, baby. And he was a rescue. And he went through a lot of hardship until he got here, and he was my buddy. He barked a lot, but he that's how they talk, for crying out loud. Body language and barking. That's how they communicate. But my boys were always, hey, he barks too much. But Tramp, who was the Cairn mix. Cairn? Yeah. Cairn mix. He was Border Terrier, Cairn Terrier, and Northern Terrier. He was a terrier. And, he barked some, but not a lot. But they just loved him. He was a bundle of joy. So I feel bad that I wondered what was the lesson in what we went through. And I think it's because I was so traumatized that there came a point where somebody asked me if I needed help. One of the vet people, came up, do you need help? And I was in such a state of shock and turmoil that I couldn't verbalize. I couldn't even mentally put that thought out there. I was just so traumatized. I have come to the belief that one of the results of what I went through with him, maybe this was pre-planned, I don't know. One of the things I have done since then, knowing that feeling of complete, utter, not only helplessness, but not even being able to form the need, the idea, the thought of asking for help. Wasn't even there. And I was, he had collapsed in front of me in between two sets of doors at the vet's office. And I couldn't react. I couldn't think. I couldn't, it was probably the most traumatic experience I can recall ever having. So since then, as part of my prayers, I pray for angels to come help people who are in need like that and can't even form the request. So I believe that carries over in the spirit world. I got an update. I believe that carries over. I got another one. Well, I believe every positive thing we put out there. I believe every prayer is answered. We may never know it. We may never see the results of it. But I believe we need to do it. And I believe because of the trauma experience that I went through, I now have compassion for anybody else who's in that place. And I don't know if anybody else even thinks of praying in that way. So, but because of it, that's now, what's the phrase, been put on my heart to help others in that respect. So that's what I do. Other things spiritually I've learned recently is, putting out the positive stuff. Stream health, I haven't checked on that. How's that looking? Well, it's pretty steady. I have realized that, there's a lot of crap going on these days. Nothing new, right? But one of the ways to offset it is to focus on positive things. And there's a lot of value there. And so when I get overwhelmed with what's going on in life, then I go look at puppy pictures. On my Facebook, I share animal pictures and stuff, because that's where that cuts through all the crap for me. Ooh, there's a squirrel out there. I don't know if he doesn't have anything in his cheek, so he's not trying to bury anything. I don't think. Anyway, I try to share things that make you smile. And recently I've been sharing a lot of political stuff, and that doesn't make me smile. The squirrel just darted away because I think that was a blue jay I heard. Anyway, so I'm trying to make deliberate steps to include more humorous things. I honestly believe that laughter is God's medicine, and we need more laughter to offset some of the other stuff that's going on. So that's what I'm trying to do more of. Is I was doing it naturally anyway, sharing the stuff to make you smile and the fuzzy critters, the nature pictures. I love nature pictures. And I now I think it's time to end. I now do it deliberately. We'll put it that way. It's like, okay, this made me smile. Maybe it'll make somebody else smile. This made me laugh. Speaking of laughing, when my ankle broke, when I did that stupid thing, my sister that we went out today sent me this get well card. And it is just, I shared it on Facebook because it's so funny. It's a picture of a doggy. And the doggy has glasses and a stethoscope around its neck. And it says, Dr. Sparky recommends his tried and true get well quick remedy. 1. Drink plenty of toilet water. 2. Bark loudly for no reason. 3. Lick someone's face. 4. Chase squirrels. There's a squirrel out there. Sahara likes to chase squirrels. That was 4. 5. This one made me laugh out loud. LOL. Eat grass until you throw up. But if that doesn't work, just follow your own doctor's orders and feel better soon. And I got such a kick out of that. I laughed. I laughed like crazy. There we go. Someday I'll find a better way to do this. Who knows? So anyway, that made me laugh. I hope you got a chuckle out of it, or at least a smile. But I've often said that laughter is God's medicine, and I think it is. So when you're feeling down, do something that makes you smile. Do something that brings joy to you. Even if it's just thinking about the last time you were with your grandkids, or an experience you had, or a park you went to, or, whatever. Try to replace the negative with positive, wherever you can. And walk in gratitude and thankful for the blessings you do have, the things that you do have. Walk in gratitude, I think, is the phrase that I was trying to think of. And I try to do that. Even though, I've got it kind of bad, there are people who have it even worse. So I thank God for my blessings. I have a wonderful sister. She does what she can. She has her own troubles. Physically. She has fibromyalgia as well. She's the one that told me to go get it checked out. But for me, hello, Desi HD, hello. Everybody's got woes and troubles and worries, and so we need to be a little more compassionate and understanding of other people. And just because you're having a bad day doesn't mean everybody else around you has to have a bad day. Hi, baby. Are you ready to go outside? You think she's ready to go outside? She's ready to go outside. So I'm going to have to say goodbye. And thank you for stopping by. I hope you had a good time. I'll try to come back on again soon, maybe tomorrow. I have to be out tomorrow anyway, so when I get done, maybe I'll come back and say hi again around the same time. So, bye, Desi. Thank you for stopping by. And thank you to the others who stopped by as well. God bless you. I hope you have a great day. So until the next time we get together, please do that. Take care, and God bless. Bye-bye.